Which is faster, a train or a plane?
I'm Jeb Brooks from greenergrass.com, and if you keep watching, you'll find out, along with me. I have no idea.
In one part of the United States, they're supposed to be pretty evenly matched. It's the Northeast Corridor. And in this video, we're going to try both between downtown Washington, D.C. and the Empire State Building in New York on the same day to see which one's faster. Here's the plan. I'm taking Acela, the fastest train in North America, from here in Washington to New York. It's a trip that's scheduled for just under 3 hours from station to station. Once we get to New York, we'll head to the Empire State Building and stop the clock. From there, we'll restart the clock and head over to LaGuardia Airport to catch a flight to DC's National Airport before making our way right back to where we started, the corner of 10th and Pennsylvania Northwest. The flight is only supposed to take an hour and a half, but we're measuring total travel time from city center to city center. So keep watching to find out which one wins and what it all costs. But for now, let's start the clock and head to Union Station.
Now, maybe the biggest advantage of traveling by train is just how easy it is. It's really simple. I mean, we literally got out of the car, walked right in, and here we are in the lounge without any effort at all. No security, no lines, no nothing, which is a real advantage. Now, Amtrak recommends that passengers get here between 30 and 45 minutes before their train departs. Some of you like to cut it a little closer than that based on the comments I've read in my other train videos, but we chose to follow that guidance. There's going to be an announcement 20 minutes before the train departs to board directly from the lounge, which is really cool. Boarding's about to begin. We're going to head over there and get on the train.
There it is, home for the next 3 hours or so. Let's get this train moving. And that marks an on-time departure.
Now, I know many of you who are used to trains in Japan or Europe won't be that impressed at 120 miles an hour, but I am. This is amazing.
Baltimore is the second of 7 stops between Washington and New York. The stops are short and accounted for in the 2-hour, 52-minute schedule. Unlike most of the routes Amtrak runs, the tracks on this Northeast Corridor are owned by Amtrak, which should minimize delays. But will it work out this way on this trip?
Subscribers will know I'm a little disappointed not to see meatballs in the menu, but this salmon, it's really good. Really good.
As I mentioned, Acela is North America's fastest train. It runs between Washington and Boston with 16 stops along the way and can reach speeds of up to 150 miles per hour, although Acela is designed to travel up to 165. As we approached the top speed on our leg between DC and New York, that was 135 miles per hour, it was time for me to amp up my own energy level. The entire journey to Boston takes almost 7 hours at an average speed of 66 miles per hour. Because of congestion on the northern part of the route, it's not possible to maintain that high speed the entire way. Our portion, DC to New York, achieves an average speed of about 82 miles per hour, including stops.
Philadelphia, one of my favorite cities.
Looking good so far. I was surprised to see how turbulent this trip was. The tracks were surprisingly uneven. I wondered whether our flight would be this bumpy. New Acela trains will be phased in beginning this year, and I can't wait to check them out. If you like travel content like this, be sure to subscribe and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on new videos like this one. And you can even watch these videos on Amtrak, thanks to the free Wi-Fi that's available on the train. Speaking of new videos, I'll have a complete review of Acela coming to the channel really soon.
Next stop, New York City. And we're held up.
The crew announced that due to congestion ahead, we were delayed. but they didn't say how long it would take, and every second counts in this race.
And that was quick. It was only about, call it 5 minutes. Easy. We're on our way. Here we are, officially past our scheduled arrival time, kind of crawling along. And it just makes me wonder, will the plane be faster?
And after that brief delay, we were soon pulling into Penn Station.
It's really great that so many trains let off right in the center, in the heart of the city. Makes it convenient, but our trip's not done yet. We've got to get to a central point. So we're headed to the Empire State Building. Wow. Holy cow, this place is absolutely amazing, and I'd love to explore it more, but we've got to keep making our way over to the Empire State Building before we can stop the clock to say we've made it to the center of New York City. The clock is ticking. Oh, who is going to win? How fast will the train be? How fast will the plane be? The anticipation builds. Okay, we've just arrived at the base of the Empire State Building. It took us 4 hours, 24 minutes, and 27 seconds to get from Pennsylvania and 10th to right here at the Empire State Building. But our trip is not over yet. We've got a little time to kill before we hop in an Uber to LaGuardia to fly back to DC in order to find out which is faster. So keep watching so you don't miss it. Let's go. Look, we're giving ourselves a little extra time. I cannot deny that traveling by air is a little bit more stressful. Like, I feel more anxious about getting to the airport on time than if I were just going to walk down the street to the train station. But let's get going.
We got into a cab an hour and 45 minutes before boarding. We figured on 45 minutes to get to LaGuardia, and based on a poll of subscribers, arriving at the airport an hour before boarding seems reasonable.
Traffic is definitely the X factor here, but I'm looking at the clock and I really think this is going to be close. I really have no idea which is going to win, the train or the plane, but I think it's going to be close.
The real question remains, will the extra time required to get to and from an airport outside the city take more or less time than starting and ending the trip in the city center? Now, I wonder what the travel time is between DC and New York on a motorcycle. We arrived at LaGuardia about an hour and 20 minutes before boarding, ahead of schedule. But New York traffic can be unpredictable. Another knock against air travel.
I interrupt this programming to say this new terminal is beautiful. I can't wait to explore LaGuardia when I have more time, but right now, we're in a race.
Yet another knock against air travel? Having to dispose of this nice bottle of water from Amtrak.
I usually don't worry too much about the length of the security line because I'm fortunate. I have pre-check and also have clear, so it's a little quicker for me. That said, right now I just checked the times on the screen back there, and they're 5 minutes or less. So security is really not a factor here. But regardless, because of when we got here and sort of the buffer we've given ourselves, that extra security time is sort of baked into this. Easy breezy through security. That was about 5 minutes.
But even if it had taken longer than that, arriving an hour before boarding would be plenty of time to get through a security line, even at LaGuardia.
If you know anything about me, you know I love airports, and this is just absolutely spectacular. As I said, I can't wait to get back and check it out some more.
Flights between the major urban hubs in the northeastern United States have traditionally been branded as hourly shuttle flights with extra amenities.
We got a little time in the lounge here, so exploring that while we wait. This is definitely different than the Acela lounge, but it's nice to have a place like this to come. To be fair, a shuttle ticket, even in first class, does not get you access to the Admirals Club. I have a membership because of a credit card. You can also buy a day pass, but that's sort of an additional component you probably don't have to deal with if you're booked in first class on the Acela. And just like that, it's time to head to the gate. This is going to be a horse race. I mean, it is neck and neck. I cannot wait to find out which is faster.
The implicit question every passenger traveling through LaGuardia has is not whether there'll be a delay, but rather how long that delay will be. So far, so good.
And that's what you call an on-time boarding.
But it's not like we'd left yet. We were still sitting here at the gate, and by this point in the train journey, we were well on the way.
A little delay with weight and balance. It's not really clear, but I guess we're still on time. We've got 2 minutes.
And despite that threatened delay, we pushed on time and quickly made our way across LaGuardia's taxiways. Another bit of good fortune for us. One of the reasons LaGuardia is being rebuilt is to reduce the congestion that's plagued it for years. This March day was a beautiful one for travel. The flight was, in fact, smoother than the rails, although that was really a function of our good fortune. There wasn't any turbulence, which brings up an important point. A summer storm, a nor'easter, or a blizzard will disrupt air travel much faster than train travel. Once we were in the air, we were offered a choice of beverages, but there were no snacks on offer, let alone salmon. There just wasn't time. Also, the internet was down. Unlike trains, airlines intentionally pad their schedules. The flight is marketed as 1 hour and 28 minutes, but our actual gate-to-gate time was 58. But again, that's not the whole story. Both train stations are much closer to our beginning and ending points than the airports. I looked out the window as we made our way back down the coast and thought about how these two modes of transportation provide two completely different perspectives. What was up close and personal on the train was suddenly microscopic and out of reach on the flight. And when we pulled into that gate, our trip still wasn't done.
We've got to head downstairs, grab a cab, and head to Pennsylvania and 10th to finish this up and find out who's faster.
Of course, speed is what you came for, but there are other factors to consider too. In terms of comfort, the train is significantly more pleasant than the plane. It's easy to get up and move around, and if you're traveling with friends or colleagues, you can book a seat like we did, with a table to get work done. But if you're flying, you're pretty much sitting exactly where you start. Speaking of work though, the train wins here too. The station-to-station time of nearly 3 hours means you have almost all of that time to get your work done, including phone calls, and unless you're in the quiet car, by the way. The wheels up to wheels down time on the flight is 44 minutes. That means, at best, you're looking at 20 or 30 minutes of heads-down work. For what it's worth, the service, food, and drinks were better on the train too. There just wasn't much of anything on the plane. Now, let's talk price. I booked these tickets on the same day, about 2 weeks before travel. Your price may be different, but my first-class ticket on Acela cost $146. Let's tack on the $12 Uber to Union Station, and the total cost was $158. The first-class ticket on American was $160 plus a $50 New York cab ride and another $9 for the DC taxi. That brings the total air cost to $219. And sure, you could use public transport to reduce these costs or not book first class, but even if you don't, my train ticket was definitely cheaper. But how about speed? After a train, a plane, 2 cabs, and an Uber, we're back exactly where we started here at the corner of 10th and Pennsylvania. That was more fun than a person should be allowed to have. And hey, let me know if you want to see more challenges like this in the comments below. I'd appreciate it. But regardless, let's get down to it. As a reminder, the train took 4 hours, 24 minutes, and 27 seconds. The plane clocked in at 3 hours, 28 minutes, and 20 seconds. So by about an hour, the plane takes it.
So now that our formal presentation is over, it's time for some editorial comment from yours truly.
I really thought this was going to be closer. Everything on the flight just worked perfectly, but the train was delayed. Amtrak just couldn't overcome the 5 minutes we sat there and then the 15 minutes we spent slowly rolling, and the fact that our flight just went really smoothly. It was like clockwork. Next time I may not get to the station so early, but that wouldn't have made a difference, you know, given the time span we're talking about here. And look, all that said, I think the airplane is going to beat the train most of the time on this particular city pair, barring some unexpected traffic or weather or delays or something like that. But I prefer the train for the reasons I highlighted earlier, and that's probably going to be my choice next time. But between now and the next time, see ya on the rails or in the sky.
We're going to make our way up to New York City, and then I'm Jeb Brooks from greenergrass.com, and I'm about to find out how fast the plane is.
A quick check-in. We're at 1 hour 27. So we just landed. We just arrived in Baltimore again. So hey, it happened today. It happened today on the Chesapeake Bay. I don't know what that is, but Suzanne just said it.
The train clocked in at. That's not right. That's not right. 4 hours 27 minutes.
24 minutes.
Okay, we've just arrived at the base of the Empire State Building. I usually don't wait. How many people do you think on this plane took the Acela up this morning? Let me know in the comments. I think the answer might be 2.
Not on.
Yeah. You see the Capitol behind
Hold
me?
on. It's not on yet. It's not on yet.
It's just, it won't do that because you're recording. Okay.
To the left. No, my left. Okay, it's recording now.
It should say recording in the corner.
Second editorial comment. DC is so much better than New York. I mean, like, hands down. And that, as they say, is a wrap.